This year, our 12-inch Star Wars line gets a little bit of an evolutionary step forward.
We are really developing ways to approach the 6-scale stuff that we had never really thought we were going to get into when we originally started this process. We're going to be hitting a lot of other characters that I don't think people are expecting us to do. There's going to be some really big ones and some really small ones.
What I see developing beyond that with the bounty hunters getting rolling and IG-88 is amazing.
We started with Empire Strikes Back, the actual set piece that IG-88 was. With that design, we went in and really tried to kick up his articulation.
This has been a big test of our designers and our engineers and developers to bring more sophistication to the development process and amp up sort of the end result.
This piece has got articulation galore. You can pose it in all manner of action poses that actually kind of make sense and look like the character has some real animation.
We wanted to really reflect what we saw in the Clone Wars animated series, showing him as a very lethal, very quick, fast killer droid, which is exactly what he is.
So for a robot that is essentially, was almost a prop in the real film, we've taken it and put as much life into it as we have seen the Star Wars creators themselves put into the character. So I think people are going to find that this is a really exciting kind of next step to what we're doing with our 12-inch product.
The way things are developing for Star Wars 12-inch is definitely fun for the folks within Sideshow as fans and as developers. We've given ourselves a little bit of freedom to develop beyond the buck body and beyond the basics to tackle some of the characters that we've wanted to do for a long time. So we kind of pulled the roadblocks out and pulled out all the stops and said, let's go for it.
One of the most iconic images, perhaps other than Darth Vader from the Star Wars line, is of course the Stormtrooper.
We've had some great success in figuring out how to work this around the 6-scale format, and that's given us some really great tips on how to kind of take it a step further and really nail it down for the 1/4 scale interpretation.
In the same way we are approaching the unique challenges that the armored characters bring to us each time, we get to sort of really fine-tune them and finesse them and make them just right in premium format.
We've had great success visiting the expanded universe with our premium format line, and we want to get into more of the female characters, so we're going to be doing the Aayla Secura, the Mara Jade, and the Shaak Ti coming up.
Mara Jade, going to be another fun EU character to tackle in premium format, and it looks like we're going to get to team up with one of our favorite partners on this one, so be looking for good things.
We also want to keep on with our classic characters, so we definitely want to do an Emperor in the throne from the really classic scene in Return of the Jedi.
People are going to enjoy the way we're able to interpret them. We chose sort of the iconic scenes from the throne and threw in a few twists to make the character, let's just say, customizable.
We couldn't really decide where we wanted him to be. We wanted him in the throne, but he does several things in the throne. Did we want him leaning back, all sinister? Did we want him leaning forward, laughing? There's, several things we could have done with that character.
Of course, Darth Vader being the principal villain, the Emperor is sort of the overshadowing villain of the entire piece, and his sort of quiet manipulation of the entire Star Wars universe has always been something that's sort of, certainly fascinating to me.
Strike me down with all of your hatred, and your journey towards the dark side will be complete.
There's a lot of nice, subtle dimension to this piece. There'll also be some lighted elements to the throne. So in total, it's really what I like about the premium format, is when we can do a piece that really is as multimedia as we can make it.
Welcome, young Skywalker. I have been expecting you.
With the Star Wars maquette line, we're kind of taking a new direction, not just for ourselves at Sideshow Collectibles, but I think for the entire Star Wars license itself. It's going to be a whole new vision, let's say, of characters that the fans are familiar with.
When we start to talk about being designers and developers, and you want to kind of step away from doing another literal interpretation of a character, we wanted to do something that gave us an opportunity to sort of speak to the world that Star Wars existed in and the characters that live in that world. These characters have all had other adventures. They've all had other experiences. What we wanted to do was get an opportunity to take some just killer established characters and tell some stories about them in this 3D medium that spoke to other aspects of their life.
One of the things we wanted to bring to Star Wars is something, unique to the fans, but also kind of harken back to stuff that we, in the various artists and film fans and art fans here at Sideshow really respect. And that's some of our favorite artists, be it director, painter, some of their influences they had in different media. We drew a lot of our influence from Akira Kurosawa, Sergio Leone, and Frank Frazetta.
They are all single figure studies. They're all single figure statuettes. And basically what they are is visions of the characters that you know and love in a way that you've never seen them before.
When I saw the designs for our legendary scale bust range, I was a skeptic.
Tom tasked us with a challenge of coming up with a new style of bust, basically.
What is the sort of magic of that scale and format that breaks the traditional bust mold and it still retains the sort of expectation of a bust?
We went through several variations and finally we came up with just this awesome variation on busts where we're using the cloak as the support mechanism and a design mechanism. And it's cut in such a way that if you look at it, it almost looks like it shouldn't balance. It almost looks like it shouldn't be supported because the cloak gets really thin and the bust and the shoulders are larger up on top, and it almost looks like it's defying gravity.
It's definitely got more body and shape to it, but it was a little bit, designy. There's a lot of style in that. Then the piece was sculpted. I was impressed. Fully painted, okay, it's got something special.
It's just really cool to look at it because it's an interesting design. It's really appealing to the eye. It kind of makes you want to turn the piece around and look at the whole piece because the cloak flows all the way around.
As a cohesive line, seeing all that sort of same style within the Jedi and Sith sort of character range is really going to be impressive.
Everything is fair game, and I think we have more stuff than people are probably anticipating under development. We have droids, we have bounty hunters, we have Cantina aliens, we have characters, creatures, who knows? Some of the stuff is so big that it's going to make Jabba's palace look small.